Hello, and yet another strong welcome to my shed. This is the last of the series of 5 Lent videos that we were going to prepare and show from my allotment here. And today we're going to be looking to see what progress has been made since we last came, what progress has been made since we first started these videos about 5 weeks ago now. And really I just want to encourage those that may not have seen too much change, that I'm seeing quite a lot of change, getting up front and up close and personal. What I'd like to do is actually show you some stills, which we'll show later on, of what this allotment looked like 2 years ago in the peak season, as it were, back end of June and early July, because it was so different to what you've been seeing here, which is probably the worst time of the year to be showing an allotment, when it's really waking up from its dormant stage, is pretty untidy, lots of work to be done. Now today's passage is going to be from Isaiah 61 verse 11, and I've got a note of it here to read to you. And this says, "For the soil makes the young plant come up, and a garden causes seeds to grow." And that has been at the heart of much of what we've been looking at over this last period of time. It is really just wonderful to see God's nature springing into life. And I do hope that this series of videos has encouraged you all. Maybe we'll come back again sometime soon, and if we do, you'll again be very, very welcome, and you'll probably see a very different allotment. But for now, I'm going to take you round and show you what's been happening, as well as talking about planting early potatoes. So let's go outside together now. Since our last visit here, I've manured the rhubarb just here, and that's really coming on a pace now. That will develop very strongly now over these next few weeks, so it's really encouraging. This vegetable or fruit, if you like, really springing into life, and will develop really well. Again, since we were last here, and since the time when I planted up the first couple of rows of onions, they're doing quite well. There's nothing coming through yet, but they're all in place. The birds have had an attack on them to pull them out, but since then I've developed the whole of the rest of this bed. It's all now fully planted with onions, and we'll look to see the development of those over these next few weeks. Just here you can see the purple sprouting broccoli starting to develop. We've actually been picking this now for about 3 or 4 weeks, so that's developing quite nicely, and it will continue to grow and flower. The florets is what we use. That will develop over these next few weeks, and until they're finished, probably sometime in early May. In this area here, I shall be planting beans and peas. I've got those started at home, just starting to germinate, so I can plant them out and give them a good start. Just beyond the cover there, you'll see that I've started to prepare the area for the potatoes that we're going to be talking about now. So today, as I've mentioned already, we're going to be talking about planting potatoes. This will be the first early variety that I sow. I will sow probably around about 3 rows, which I found will take about 2 kilos of seed potatoes. Seed potatoes are just potatoes that have been held over from last year by the seed merchants, and they need to be about the size of a hen's egg. Now you see there's growth from this. These started growing before I'd even got them, frankly. I got them in some state of growth, and I put them onto a cool windowsill in the spare bedroom in this tray, and they've continued to what they call chit. Now these shoots, these chits, will develop into the leaves and ultimately the tubers that will be growing in the soil just here. So just here I've already prepared a row where I shall plant these tubers, which will be about 4 inches deep, about 12 inches apart, and the rows themselves will be about 18 inches apart. So I'll start to plant one of the rows today. I will finish them off later on today probably. Just show you the principles of what we're doing here. So this first one, that's about the size of a hen's egg. Some of these are much bigger, but this is perfect today, and I shall plant this one. I'm putting it just here with the what I would call the rose end up. So that goes into there like that, and will develop nicely for me, I'm sure.
For as the soil makes the young plant come up, and a garden causes seeds to grow, so the sovereign Lord will make righteousness and praise spring up before all nations.
And so now, to come to a conclusion on this, our fifth video from the allotment, I'd like to just recap on what we've seen over these last five weeks, where we've reflected on God's wonderful creation and our responsibility to tend, nurture, protect and garden it. Part of our world responsibility. Within this we see new life, signs of life. We have then looked at the dead, flimsy parsnip seed, its growth, its fruit, and allowing that seed, being Jesus, to be planted and grow in our hearts. Again, you will recognise new life, signs of life. Our third visit talked about the garlic bulb being us as individuals, the many cloves that are then planted into others from us, and then nurture with the overriding encouragement to love one another. The garlic plants certainly demonstrated new life. Talk 4 showed us cutting out branches and shoots that were unlikely to bear good fruit, so that what was produced was excellent. The branches that were left will develop to produce new life. We looked at keeping ourselves close to Jesus and understanding that our bearing good fruit as Jesus' disciples brings glory to God. And today there are no better words to sum up our talk and all of our talks than reading what we have heard earlier from Isaiah 61, describing the growing cycle and the collective fruits that will be born. Those fruits can be summarised in 2 words: new life. So in conclusion, I really do thank you for joining me on my allotment during these past weeks, and I look forward to sharing my allotment with you next time. Bye bye for now.